Good afternoon, AYs. Are you happy to be in the house of the Lord? I am very happy to be in the house of the Lord, especially here at Bedward Pastures. Sorry. I always call here Bedward Pastures, but this is where I am talking. This is like my home church because members are here from when I joined the message many years ago, from 1977, and they are here and I am here and we are here. And today I'm going to be talking about social support for persons with spinal cord injury, and it's going to be interactive. I don't want you to get bored, right? And when I'm bored, I just feel so miserable and sleepy and so on, and I don't want to do that to you. I want you to learn and enjoy while you're learning. So what you understand by social support? And I don't want Sister Shaw to answer. Where is she? Okay, so the rest of us. Social support. Reaching out to the wider world. You're onto something. You're into social work? Okay, so social support by people. Very good. That's an original one. That's an original definition by Elder Stamp. And you did social work? Okay. So persons with spinal cord injury, they need a little extra social support than persons who are able-bodied, persons who have a job and have family and so on. Not that people with spinal cord injury don't have family, but sometimes as a result of the injury, they lose their family. It has happened. I know of that. So we're going to look at what Wikipedia said is social support. So, according to Wikipedia, social support is the perception and actuality that one is cared for. So, if you are cared for and you don't have the perception, then it is not social support. You have to believe and perceive that you are cared for, that you have assistance from other people and popularity, that one is a part of a supportive network. And these supportive resources can be emotional, informational, or companionship. And the social support can be tangible or intangible. Okay? Another definition comes from the American Psychologists Association. And it says, social support is the provision of assistance or comfort to others, typically to help them cope with biological, psychological, and social stressors. Support may arise from interpersonal relationship in an individual social network involving family members, friends, neighbors, religious institutions, colleagues, caregivers, or support groups. It may take the form of practical help, like doing chores or running errands, or it can involve giving money or other material assistance, and emotional support that allows the individual to feel valued, accepted, and understood. So, from my personal experience, when I was much younger, I didn't feel like I lacked social support because I was living in a big family. For those of you who know me, my grandmother had 12 children and my mother have 5, and all of us live in one house in Hermitage. And I used to take part in church and I used to have friends, and young men used to be interested to get into relationship with me and so on. But as time went on, it got less and less because I moved out of the house with the crowd and I was just there with husband and my children. And then the children start to fly the nest. And then the Lord took the husband, and no prospect is knocking and wanting to take me out or anything like that. So it is now that I see the significance of social support. And when we get into the question part of it, you are going to ask yourself, do I have adequate social support? Because to be honest, I don't think I have adequate social support. I just have to rely on God and ask him, Lord, please don't let X or Y or Z happen to me. Now we go on to what is spinal cord injury. Because we're looking at persons with spinal cord injury. I mean, there are other people with possibilities, but my main emphasis is on persons with spinal cord injury. So, spinal cord injury, yes, you could.
You spoke of, Sister Minot, you spoke of adequate social support. And my question is, can social support, what would constitute inadequate social support?
Okay, so I have some items that we will respond to. And if these are not present in your circumstance, then your social support is not adequate. But I'm going to get there. So spinal cord injury is damage to the spinal cord, and it can result in a person being paralyzed. Okay, so there are 2 levels of spinal cord injury. There are more, but these are the 2 main ones. And one is paraplegia, where you lose function in the 2 lower limbs. So the hands will still be, useful, and you will be able to do things, but you won't be able to walk. Then there is what is called quadriplegia, where all 4 limbs are not working. So when you have quadriplegia, you need complete care. Is that Mona Rehab? I hear that term. Like when we go on the ward round and we go to the bedside of this person and that person, and the senior medical officer said, he is going to need total care, meaning that he will not be able to feed himself or to take care of his hygiene needs or do anything whatsoever. He will still be able to think, providing that he doesn't have a brain damage. He'll still be able to think and talk, but like to do things manually, he will not be able. And I've seen somebody with quadriplegia use a paintbrush in his mouth to paint pictures. There were some lovely pictures when I went there first. And I saw the person, you put the brush in his mouth and he was able to use it to paint. So he was able to be creative, but still he couldn't feed himself. That is a very interesting question because they have 20 beds for men and only 8 for women. And more men, they fill those beds and we have waiting lists. While with the females, you will have 8 and sometimes you have less than 8. So more men get spinal cord injury than women. Okay. And interestingly, less children than the adults get spinal cord injury. I'm there from 1997, and maybe about only 10 come in with spinal cord injury. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the angel of the Lord, or I don't know, but the children, that less of them come in with spinal cord injury. Okay, so we have looked at what is social support, but we get social support from the government because the hospital, when you are in an accident and they take you up and take you to the emergency room and you are admitted, the social support has started. So they stabilize the person. Sometimes they do surgery to stabilize the back, the bone, so that it doesn't move and cause more damage. So that surgery is done, and then they are taken to Surgeon Golding, which up until a few years ago was the only rehab center in the English-speaking Caribbean. But recently, they have a second one, which is for the police officers. So police officers used to come there. They no longer come there. They go to that one. I think it's at a secret location. And the officers go there. So now we have 2 rehab centers. So the rehabilitation process is also social support. But while the patient is in the hospital, they need support from family and friends. So when you're in hospital, don't you want people to visit you? Yes, you want to see a nice little bouquet beside on your locker top and some cards that say get well soon and so on. And the person in the hospital will need, like toiletries and snacks, and those who don't drink pipe water, they'll need water from their relatives. So these are some needs that are provided. The acute care in the hospital and the rehab in the Mona Rehab or Surgeon Golding. But after that, post-discharge care, that is care after discharge, because when the patient leaves, they're not going to be fully independent. Some of them eventually get there, even though they are not able to walk, they still become independent. That is really something unusual, but it happens. And the post-discharge care should involve fulfilling these needs: hygiene needs, nutritional needs, financial needs, occupational needs, practical help like persons doing chores and errands. Transportation is very important. Recreational needs, emotional and spiritual. And I want to talk about the transportation for persons with spinal cord injury. For those who don't have their own vehicle, there's a bus for, JUTC passengers in the corporate area, but In the rural parts, there's no transportation provided for them specially by the government. So with persons in the corporate area, if you register with the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disability, you pay half the fare or just children's fare. And those who don't have access, they have to take the taxi and they have to pay double. You pay double. So normally if I pay $500 to go to Papine, the person with the wheelchair has to pay twice that because they have to pay for themselves and pay for the chair. So it's double. And you would think that persons with disability would be less pressured because many of them are not working and they have to find that. So you find that, and a lot of things that people take for granted, persons with spinal cord injury have to spend a lot of money. So even if you had millions of dollars before the accident, by the time you finish your rehab, the money gone. Because you have to buy this and buy that medication, you have to do this MRI and you have to do CT scan and all the scans and so on. Although the government provides free treatment, there are some diagnostic procedures that you have to pay. And MRI is not cheap for those of you who, have done it or, persons who have done it. And the scans are not cheap either. So by the time you are ready to go home, all the money gone. Yes.
The financial aspect. Since these persons are not working and all of the street, why is it that they have to pay? I mean, yes, they are not cheap, but couldn't they defray their costs, seeing that they are in this situation? And you mentioned also that accidents, the term quadro, can't call it pronounce it. Yes, is it that persons, because I've heard of he's a motivational speaker and he doesn't have arms or foot, there are the limbs, right?
Yes, he's without limbs.
And he's a motivational speaker and he can swim and do all. As a matter of fact, he even get married. And
has children.
Yes. So what I'm saying here, people can born so as well.
Yes, because we have had children who come by the center, they don't have any legs and so on. And they get their education. And some of them were able to become independent, just like that gentleman. Okay, so as I was saying about the transportation, remember that taxis are operated by private owners, private operators. And they charge what they think they should get from the hospital care. They don't pay. You don't pay to be at the rehab center, but you have to pay for the diagnostics. Yes. And some of the causes, what cause people to get spinal cord injury? So gunshot wound is one, and that is high on the list. Stab wounds, fall from height, and mostly construction workers and people from the rural parishes, like farmers who climb breadfruit tree and climb ackee tree, and they fall out of the tree and they get the spinal cord injury. Motor vehicle accidents, motorbike accident is on the rise. A lot of persons, because of the delivery thing that they start for the bike men to be delivering, a lot of them, they get spinal cord injury. And blunt trauma, like somebody hit somebody else, like with a stone or a piece of wood or so on. And that can give you spinal cord injury. And finally, there are more, but these are some of the common ones. Viral infection. Even the flu. You can get the flu and the virus migrate to the spine and you become paralyzed. Yes, so flu is not something to play with. So these are some of the causes of spinal cord injury. So I'm going to ask you now to participate. I'm going to give you a strip of paper for you to answer 11 questions. 11 questions, or I'm not sure. The questionnaire had 12 and I left out some. So it's very easy. Just put your name and put 1 to 10. So take and pass them. So just, yes, please help me with handing it out. So, and this will help you to know if your social support is adequate. So, questionnaires have score and then the score has meaning. If you get a certain score, it means your social support is strong, or it is moderate, or it is weak. So, social support is very, very important, and we need to know if our social support is adequate or not. All right, and what happens to people who don't have adequate social support? Some of them and you see, those of us who are strong and healthy, protect your health, right? Because when you read the Ministry of Healing, it's some of us who cause our own illness by disobeying the laws of health, right? And sometimes when the patients come to surgeon and they don't have social support, so their therapy is not very effective because they are there fretting and worrying, and they don't have what to take care of themselves. And they would refer those persons to the social worker, and I would beg and seek help to give them. And then when they are to leave the hospital, they have nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. And the reason for that is lack of social support. I remember when I just went to rehab and there was a man there. They call him a social case. Social case would be a person who doesn't have any social support. So I came there new into the job and everything, and the doctor told me that this man is a social case and I must visit his home to see if somebody will take him back. So when I went to the home, it was in Central Village, and it was a board house and it had a zinc fence. So when I went and knocked at the zinc gate, somebody peep out and say, "Miss, him can't come back here. Him space gone." So I couldn't do anything, because if his space is gone, probably it means that the spouse now have a new spouse, and then he cannot come back. And This happens to children as well, because there was a little boy, he was about 8, and he got a high injury, so he was a quad. We call them quadriplegic. Couldn't do anything, and then his body folded up. Because when you have the complete injury from the neck down, you go back in the fetal position. You know, babies look when they are inside, they fold up. And he was from Westmoreland, so we traveled with him all the way from Surgeon way down to Westmoreland. And while we were driving, we saw a relative, and he showed us that that is his relative. And the relative started cursing and said, "Oh, no, bring that boy in my place." And then we continued, and we reached to the home where he should go. And luckily, nobody was there to run us or run him. So we took him out of the vehicle and we put him in the house. So there are things like those. People just turn against their loved ones because they become paralyzed. Okay, so I assume that you're ready. So the only thing you're going to write for each number is a one-word answer, which can be yes or sometimes or no. All right? So, my question, and if you don't get it, I'll repeat. All right, suppose you want to go on a trip for a day, like you want to go to the country. Would you easily find someone to go with you? So put your answer. Would you easily find someone to go with you on a trip for the day? Sometimes no or yes. Next, you feel that there are persons you can share your most private worries and fears with. Yes or no or sometimes. You feel, because sometimes you feel, but it is not so. But you feel that there are persons you can share your most private worries and fear with. Number 3, if you are sick, could you easily find someone to help with your daily chores? If you are sick, could you easily find someone to come to your house and help with the dishes and to wash the clothes and do chores for you if you get sick? So that's number 3. Number 4, there's someone that you can turn to give you some advice about handling problems. Yes, no, sometimes. I repeat, there's someone you can turn to for advice about handling problems. Number 5, if you decide one evening that you would like to go to a concert, could you easily find someone to go with you? If you decide one evening that you would like to go to a concert, would you easily find someone to go with you? So that's number 5. Okay, number 6. You often get invited to do things with others. Do people invite you often? Do you find that you get a lot of invitation to come and do this with me. Let us do this together. Yes, no, or sometimes. Number seven. If you have to go out of town for a few weeks, would it be easy to find someone to look after your house while you are away? If you have to go out of town for a few weeks, would it be easy for you to find someone to look after your house while you are away? So it's number 9 now. Number 8. Listen to this one. If you were stranded 10 miles from home, is there someone you could call to come and get you? If you were stranded 10 miles from home, is there someone you could call to come and get you? Yes, no, or sometimes. Next, so this one is 9. Yes, number 9. Should there be a family crisis, would it be easy to find someone who can give you advice about how to handle it? Remember, family is kind of personal and private. And do you have that person who you could call to help you to handle a family crisis? And the final one, okay, this is the last one. If you needed some help in moving to a new house, would you have it easy to find someone to help you? If you're going to move house, would it be easy for you to find someone to help you to move? So those are your questions. So what I'm going to ask you to do, for every yes that you have, write the number 10. 1 minute, let me just be sure. Okay, for every no, put 0. For every no, put 0. And for every sometimes, put 5. If you're going to move house, help, the person going to help you. You're not going to pay them. It's somebody to help you. We'll put 5. 5. Okay, so please to add it now. Add them. Add all the 10s. And add all the 5s. And see how much you get. Okay, so between 70 and 100 is strong. Between 70 and 100 is strong. Between 40 and 60 is moderate. And between 0 and 30 is weak. week. So you assess your situation and see if your social support is strong. Yes.
I see where you went with this, but as I did the challenge, as I did the question here, it brought something home significantly to me. I said, as I did this, it brought something home significantly to me. Because as the questions were asked, it kept coming in my head. It's not a matter of being able to find somebody, because most of these, if not all, I could say a quick yes. What if you find it, what if it is that you find in yourself not really wanting anybody? So you're taking a trip to the country, but you really don't want anybody to go with you. And you know, so I understand the context in which this was done, but I had to ask the question because I found myself really thinking that, really and truly, is that I can find people to do these things. But in most cases, even the part about trusting somebody, especially that part, trusting somebody to tell them your deep or whatever, if you can find. I can find, but am I the kind of person who want to do that? How does that play out in terms of social support and the health in terms of that, when you turn the mirror, the light on yourself, and realizing that you are the one who really don't want to invite.
Okay, let me, before you talk, the support that we need, okay, at certain point in your life, you will not want, you will be independent enough to do things for yourself and on your own. But if you become elderly or you become a paraplegic or a quadriplegic, if you don't accept these help, maybe you want to die. You know, some people actually give up. And I say, this is no quality of life, so just leave me, make me dead. I remember a patient was there, and when he got his injury, his girlfriend or his baby mother, she broke up with him. And he said he does not want to live. Everybody tried to get him to eat. Remember, I'm not a caregiver. I'm not a nurse. And I went to his bedside to feed him, to get him to eat. And he refused because he doesn't have any hand function to kill himself. So the only way he can kill himself is to starve. And he went down, and they had to take him out and take him to KPH. And when he was at KPH, the woman came and she promised to come back in his life. And he started back eating and get back up and came back to rehab. And she rejected him again. And the second time, he died. He just stopped eating, starve himself to death. But I just tell you this to say that some people, when they get their injury, they feel like they are hopeless. They feel like life is not worth living. And sometimes these feelings come about because of the social support that is withdrawn from them. So people who are functional, people who are empowered, and people who are independent, they have a choice. They can say they want to go out in the country by themselves because they can drive, and and maybe the person with the injury can't drive, but they would like the little country here, so they would want somebody to take them. But if the time comes, and as you get older, your social support can get less. It doesn't have to be that way, but the way that society is getting, the children no longer stay around with their parents till they get elderly and need care. They leave and they gone abroad or they gone to greener pastures and they only write or they call or so on. So the parents are there without any family member. Caregivers may be paid to come in and wash and so on. But it is different. The elderly will trust their own more. You know, most of the time. Sometimes the children are worse than the caregivers that are paid. So more and more the elderly are being abandoned. Right? Because the children say them have them life to live and them have them children to raise and them mortgage to pay and them have to pay back them student loan and they don't have it to give to the parents. And even some parents agree. I say my poor daughter, she just leave college and she have to pay back the student loan and the salary can't meet and you know they don't really pressure the children. So I was just touching on that a little bit. Yes.
In regard to the point that Elder raised, some people elder becomes antisocial, and one would say, you said they are independent, and so they have a right to be antisocial. But what that does is push them deeper into depression, and they sometimes can become as it were, antagonistic to those who are trying to help them. I remember I was living, well, he was living actually with me. I took him in, a blind man, for about 2 years, and it was one of my more difficult experience because here I want to help him, but he was pushing me away. He wanted to be independent, but he was not able to be independent based on the circumstance. And I was willing to help him, but here he was pushing me away. And I had to be patient with him, knowing what he actually needs. And although he knows what his need, he was not willing to accept it. And sometimes these people don't want, in their mind, they don't want somebody to sorry for them. They don't want this type of handout, so that they feel probably fragile because I'm weak, because you're trying to help them. And of course, you know that they need the help. They know that they need the help, but they are pushing you away. And so it is important to recognize that there are people like this, and Ella mentioned, those I don't want you to come to my house. What you going to be doing? You're not going to be there. And you're going to leave the house empty. You might come back and find all the furniture gone. And so it is important to have the type of support individuals that they can lean on. It might be family members and it might be close friends. It might be a total stranger. But we have to put trust implicitly sometimes in individuals, because of the circumstances that we find ourselves in order to receive that type of support, genuine support, that can give us that type of well-being, because it's important for us in terms of our social, emotional, and spiritual well-being to have individuals. Let me tell you something, you don't mention it, but loneliness is a very serious situation. And those who would have lost support, they can become so lonely, and as I said, they wanted to destroy themselves or to be killed.
Thank you very much for that point. They have a saying, seek a friend before you need a friend. So maybe right now you don't have anybody who you would let into your house to stay there till you come back. But it is good to find somebody. I remember I wanted to go somewhere and I didn't have anybody to stay in the house, and I have 6 dogs, and I asked a neighbor to feed them. So I left the feeding outside, but the front door couldn't be closed properly from outside, but the grill could be closed. And I went away for some days, and when I came back, 2 of the dogs got in the house. and they mess up the house. They defecate in the house thoroughly. And it's just that I could not have left the house to the person for them to go in. They could only come in the yard and feed the dogs. It is good to have somebody who can do something like that for you. It is good. But I know it's not easy. It's not easy. That is why we have to really, as a church, we have to really be honest. We have to be decent people so that we can be trusted. Because the time is up, or it will soon be up. I just want to turn the questions around, but I won't go through all of them. But the question is, if a church brother or sister was to go away, could you or would you take care of their house until they come back? If somebody is stranded, like in St. Anne, the car breakdown or something, and night coming down, and it's a young lady and she's afraid, would you go for her? Would you go and pick her up in the night? So we should be the social support that we need. The social support that we need, we should be that for the person. And persons with spinal cord injury, they need help with transportation. They need help with recreation. Because some people feel say if you give them clothes, food, and shelter, what more they want? Why they're not satisfied. But they need to laugh. They need to go out and enjoy themselves. They need to dress up and look pretty. Yes, and have fun, because fun heals the body and it heals the mind. So I just pick on those because people overlook those. You know, you more you give them the food because it's basic, and you give them the hygiene, you bathe them and comb them here and so, but you don't carry them anywhere and fix them up and make them pretty and feel good. And suppose they meet somebody who like them. Some people say, no. You must finish with that. No. Right? And stop them from having that romance in their lives. Somebody was putting up? Yes. Yes. From the government. Yeah, they are from the state level. The government would provide shelter for them and some money, a little money. Yes. I am not sure, because the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, they said once you are registered, you can get up to $30,000 to start a little income generating project. And we worked it out that it could, some years ago, it could buy 50 chickens and the feed and the pill and everything to take them to maturity, but you have to have your own coop. And then you cannot get another grant until some years down the road. And sad to say, many people who apply for the grant, they don't get it. They give them the run around and run around and run around, and they don't get that money. People die and don't get the money. So I don't know what is happening. First time they used to help, but the last 10 years, the people don't get the money. Weak. Yes, the family structure is very weak. I have a patient, and when we look at his family tree, he couldn't even give us the information at one sitting because his mother has children with 4 different men, and then his father has children with some different women. And he doesn't know their names, he doesn't know much about them. And then he didn't settle down. He has 6 children with different partners, so that 2 of the children have the same name because the mothers didn't know about the other one who was carrying his child. So we see the pattern in the family, and now, although he has 6 children and how much brothers and sisters, none of them want to take him. He's there and he cannot leave because he doesn't have anywhere to go.
I believe that the problem can be fixed in Jamaica, but I believe the church would have to be a very important part of that.
Yes, this requires a lot of discussion. A lot of discussion, because the church should be a safe haven for its members who may become paraplegic or quadriplegic. Okay, 2, yes.
The government does a lot of the groundwork, a lot of their work is moving that. So family members are willing to go and to look for the rest. Or if they are paying careful, there is a social worker or doctors who are assigned that kind of follow them up in the home setting, right? Those professionals are not really available, but they don't even have paid a lot of work to do, right? And you mentioned a very critical point because the church, as you said, has a role to play, right? If we had, say, a hospital or an inn or something where our loved ones can be cared for and persons are quickly, as Doug said, are assisted, I remember other girl was mentioning, taking an elderly person or someone with disability. If it is that we have that mindset and that heart to do, then it will be better. But here in Jamaica, when you take up your loved one, or you try to care for your loved one who would have had these type of illness, sometimes you are alone. Because
You can't manage. Okay, yes. Okay, we are going to wrap up now. Yes. So it doesn't take money. It doesn't take money. It does you does time. You just spend a little time. Okay. I'm so sorry that we Okay, thank you so much. And this we need to explore and discuss these things more, because the Catholic Church, they have a lot of homes for people, for the homeless. What do we have? We have any home for homeless? A lot of Adventists go to those homes. I know of it. They go there and they have to baptize and become a Catholic. And they die in the Catholic faith. Why is it that we don't have homes for our members who become homeless? Brethren, I'm so sorry. Maybe I have to have a part 2. So I'm going to ask persons who in charge of the Vespers to come. Person who in charge of the Vesper can come and just go right into the Vespers. And we can, by the other.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sister Minot, on behalf of the possibilities department of Goldsmithville Seventh-day Adventist Church. We want to thank you for really joining us. It was very informative, and I know we went over time, but it was worthwhile. As Brother Earl pointed out, by the leading of the Holy Spirit this morning, it's a possibility week set aside, but possibilities emphasis should continue, should be a continuous thing. And so it was worthwhile you sharing with us. the AY department should note that the band challenge was not done because we would have gone over sunset, and that the band will be given an opportunity, should be given an opportunity to do that exercise at the earliest possible time. All right? We would have passed sunset, and so as we go into our Vespers, the Sabbath is over, but the message as we go into the Untried Week is still relevant. I want you to turn your hymnals to 248 and hold it there. All right? 248. There is a song that I'm going to sing, and before I sing the song, I will just read the refrain, and this is something that I want you to think about as we go into the Untried Week. You've got to try a little kindness. Show a little kindness. Shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people on the narrow-minded street. If you see your brother standing by the road with a heavy load from the seeds he sowed, and if you see your sister falling by the way, just stop and say, you're going the wrong way. You've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, shine your light that everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people on a narrow-minded street. Don't walk around the down and out. Lend a helping hand instead of doubt. And if the kindness that you show every day will help someone along the way, you've got to try a little kindness. Yes, show a little kindness. Just shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people on a narrow-minded street. You've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, just shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, then you'll overlook the blindness of the narrow-minded people on the narrow-minded street. Of the narrow-minded people on the narrow-minded street. Please stand. Let us sing this song, because in spite of the challenges that those who are otherwise able may face, in spite of the withdrawal socially, the social support net that may not readily seem available, in spite of, and a telling message this morning, the lack in the care of the church itself, or seeming lack in the care of the church itself, in spite of our follies and faults. Let those who are having an unfortunate situation realize that this song applies to them as it applies to us who think we are able-bodied, but very much disabled by virtue of sin. The fact that possibilities exist for the disabled is the same fact that they exist for the able, because they exist through the same one whose name I love to hear. And let us encourage all those who are fearful and depressed, and ourselves, that the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, there is relief. And so let us sing this song and take it with us as we share a little kindness this week. Let us take this song with us and tell it to those who the Spirit bid. There is a name I love to hear, I love to sing its worth. It sounds like music in my ear, the sweetest name on earth. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. It tells me of a Savior's love, who died to set me free. It tells me of a Savior's blood, the sinner's perfect plea. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. It tells me whose loving heart can feel my deepest woe, who in its sorrows bears a part that none can bear below. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus, because he first loved me. Sister Minor, could you close us in prayer?
Heads bowed, eyes closed. Dear God, our kind and loving Heavenly Father, we bow before you at the end of another Sabbath day. We want to thank you for sparing our lives despite our failings and our failures. But help us, dear Lord, to be like those on your right hand who feed the hungry and clothe the naked and visit the sick and give social support as you have commanded us. Help us not to be like those who withheld and were cast into eternal damnation. Kind Father, that's how serious it is that we cannot enter into your kingdom without giving social support to those in need. Help us that this message, this presentation, and your word will not fall on deaf ears, but that they will transform us and bring us up to the standard that you require so that we'll be saved in your kingdom. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. Lord, keep us safe this night, secured from all our fears. May angels guard us while we sleep till morning light again. Amen. Praise the Lord. Wonderful day to us. All right. Do we have any announcements from the departments? Elder Stamp. All right, we're asking that all deacons and deaconesses just stay back just for a moment, and we'll speak to a matter in short order. So all deacons and deaconesses, please just be with us for a moment after we usher out. Please remember that tomorrow there will be the memorial service for the late Simone Edwards, right here beginning at 11 a.m. Those who are able to be here and those who had desired to be here, please remember that. Communications team, please remember that there is a request for streaming. So we ask that if we can assist in that vein, we do that. Please also remember that Sister Beryl, being a member of one of our sisters and a member in the district, we are doing what we can to be of service as we would to any other member. All right? Please remember our Sunday night and Wednesday night meetings, evangelistic service on Sunday night, Wednesday night, prayer and praise. Our Monday evening is Bible class with Elder Burke. Our Wednesday prayer meeting on Monday and Friday women's ministry prayer hour at 5:30. At 5:30, please remember those important programs and worship sessions for the church. Global Youth Day is next. Well, it's Sabbath coming. We are in the week. Please remember the announcement this morning for those who would have made pledges, and for those who didn't make pledges, but you know you can assist the department with what is needed. I ask that you speak with Leader McCrae or Sister Shaw, Jessica that is, and make sure that you assist in the best way you can. All right? Please remember that it's going to be at the Augustown Primary School. It is a wellness outreach, but it will be intertwined, as I said, with the service that will be abridged in a way, but enough that will honor God's Sabbath and shine the light of His Word. I do believe that all of us will not be there, and therefore the church doors will be open. We will cater to that, that situation for those who will be here. Is there any other announcement? Am I leaving anything out? I just want to put up